And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. You're joined with your hosts once again, Shawn Gervais from the OrbisX CRM, as well as Marty, Mr. Marshall Hill from the Pints and Polishing Podcast, as well as hyperClean Car Care Products. Captain of Uno Dos Tres. Let's go. Yes, sir. So, man, you excited?
Excited. Getting there. Getting there. Right. I mean, before a trip, you're always both, right? Like,
all right.
Especially for us that we're gonna call from Malaysia, right in the middle of the.
There we go. Hey, man, Malaysia's calling, baby.
Malaysia's calling. I guess they heard, huh?
Yeah. They heard the big news. Exactly. So yeah, before the episode, we were talking. Marty's going on a trip. Destination. I'll let him disclose it. I don't know if.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely disclose it. Because next week,
once you're there,
yeah, we got some meetings scheduled. It's a lot of fun. We're gonna do some fun things. It's gonna be a good time.
Fuck yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. And on my side, not as exciting as a trip. However, equally exciting. I'm number 3 on the list now for our new pool, which is good. So they said next week they should be doing the other 3 pools, and then our pool comes up, which is good. Because
when are we coming? Was that?
Hey, absolutely. As soon as it's in, I would make a firm date with you, but that's what they did with me when they said it'll be installed in the spring. So listen, I tell you, once it's installed, I know they do great work because this guy's installed a few of my buddies' pools and he's the best in the city. But he's definitely getting a 3-star. That's where he's sitting right now for me because so far it's like if it's going to be October, for example, just tell me October. But if you tell me spring, and then June rolls around, and then July rolls around, you're losing a star a month here. You know what I mean? That's just what's happening. So at best, you're getting 3 stars. But we'll see. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited. The only downside is we need the hydro connected to it, and we're doing a hydro upgrade. And the hydro union here, I guess they call them the Brotherhood. Anyway, the Brotherhood is on strike right now. So we'll see. They're demanding. It's a funny thing, they're demanding the same wages that they've seen in bigger cities like Toronto, because they say, well, those guys are working, they're getting paid that much, so we want to get paid that much. It's like, okay, but the cost of living is quite a bit different there. So when you factor that in, but yeah, and then interestingly enough, though, one of the numbers they're comparing it to is on the Quebec side. Quebec, the province of Quebec, produces tons of electricity, and they sell to 30 million Americans. So there's 30 million Americans that buy hydro from Canada, specifically from the province of Quebec. And so when you think Canada's only got a population of 37 million, just those customers alone, that's kind of the equivalent of them owning, the lion's share of our entire country's electricity market, which is pretty huge. And of course, you guys are paying with US dollars, and your dollar is destroying ours, putting ours in a chokehold, which is good for me because a lot of my income is US dollars. So I'm okay with that. Absolutely. It's like I get a 30% on all my money. It's amazing. But yeah, so anyway, so that's what's going on with me. Less exciting than a trip, but got some exciting stuff in the works. And yeah, that's about it. I went swimming today too, which was good. So my hair is kind of, which was nice. I'm trying to do this thing where I do like spurts. So I have the kids home, right? They're home from school. And so I got to do a little bit of work, spend a little kid time, a little bit of work, spend a little kid time, because they're going away for 2 weeks, summer camp, which means I'm going to have 2 weeks to, a lot of people would look at that and be like, oh, you got 2 weeks to party. And me, I'm like, I got 2 weeks to bang out some serious work. You know what I mean? And so that's where, don't get me wrong, I'm going to do it in style, have some fun at the same time, part of a balanced, healthy lifestyle. But you really have to feed that, entrepreneurial spirit, that beast, that dragon that just needs to eat. You have to. If not, at the end of the day, I don't know about you, but I don't feel complete.
Well, and I think that's probably where people would understand when you and I or Nick or anybody else talks about entrepreneurism or business ownership, however you want to call it. That probably is really, I talk a lot about looking yourself in the eye, right? Like look at yourself in the mirror, really take some deep dives if you have it. If you do have it, you got to pick your head down and just go after it.
Exactly.
And that would be a way to know if you have it.
Yeah.
If you have breaks, do you run away or do you go, oh man, I can right?
Oh
So
yeah.
that's the same as me in this trip.
Yeah.
There's no way, which I told my wife, you need to understand who you married.
Yeah.
I don't take vacations.
Exactly. Like I'll take mini breaks in
There you
between
go.
work.
I actually enjoy finding new places to work from,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
We
Yeah.
went to Cozumel. The last time I went out of the country was oh no, not Cozumel. What was that? Island of shit, I don't know. Some island somewhere I've talked to you about. Cayman. We went to the
Cayman.
Cayman,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I love going. It meant I
Yeah.
get to work from the beach. It means I get to
Exactly.
work from the, and I could still work on things. And
Exactly.
I don't want to be and never want to and never will be somebody that desires to unplug.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know what that, I don't want to unplug.
I don't know either. For me, it'd be like breathing with one lung. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Absolutely right. Like
Yeah.
if you want me to be the happiest for me, I was
Yeah.
talking to somebody about it. They're like, I don't need a vacation because I don't hate my life.
Yeah, exactly. Because for me, a vacation, like complete unplugging, is you're running away from,
Exactly.
you hate your job, you hate what you do, you hate this and that. But and as I think, to bring gender into it a bit, I think as men, we're very purpose driven. Like we need to have a purpose. Like a lot of like men's mental health stuff revolves usually around them, kind of feeling lost. Like they're not happy with what they're doing or what their purpose is. And a long time ago, that's all we were, was just whatever your skilled or trade in, your trade is, that's what you did. That's what you were known for. And that, and then now, people, I read a stat, the average person now, the average adult, changes their career something like 33 times in their lifetime, which to me is insane. And I may have started and sold different businesses, but my actual career has pretty much been the same. Like I've been a business owner, I've been, owner operator, but just in that realm, it's never been a drastic change. Like, yeah, I don't know, repair trains, and then next year I'm a plumber. Like it hasn't been like a complete drastic shift like that. And so that's where, like, I love what I do. And Sundays, man, I'm just itching. I can't wait for Monday morning. You have no idea. Like, drop the kids off at school, hunker down with
Ready.
a coffee.
Let's go.
Let's go.
A
Yeah.
3-day weekend's
So excited.
terrible. That
Yeah, yeah.
Tuesday, I'm
Oh,
itching to get back in.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And then sometimes you get those holidays where it's like the Friday's a holiday and the Monday. And then it's like 4 days, and then the fifth day is kind of a half day. Oh man, those are the worst for me. Like I just can't do it.
I guess some people are like, well, they're doing stuff that they don't like, so they want to get away. Like,
Mhm.
okay, if you're clocking in and out, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. Right.
And that makes
But
total
then-
sense,
But
Yeah.
then as a business owner, right, I I got to look at those people and go, oh, what's going on, man? Like,
Yeah.
do you not enjoy what you're doing?
Yeah.
When I was a mobile detailer, I always found things to fill up my time of things that I enjoyed. I enjoyed watching as I cleaned fences, and you could literally find anything that you do and find enjoyment out of it. Now, was
Yeah.
I sweating? Did I have a hat on? I was bleeding in a sense of how much sweat and crap yes.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that brutal? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I found something that I enjoyed while I was doing it.
100%.
And
Yeah.
that is the way that I've always tried to work through life and
Yeah.
business, right?
It's
Like
true.
they
Yeah.
have to go together. So you got to find things that you enjoy. You
Yeah.
got to make money at them. So it can't be things that, oh, I enjoy
Yeah.
painting, but nobody buys my paintings. Okay, well, that's not a business, right? Like that's a
Yeah,
hobby.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. And there's a big difference there. And, but it's funny you mentioned that thing about finding the things you enjoy, because we've been trying this new thing at the shop where whenever a customer comes in, some of my guys like different aspects of whatever they do. So like most of my guys can do everything. They can do the tint, they can do PPF, they can do ceramic coating, they can do the whole gamut. But some of them prefer one aspect over the other. So like I got one guy, he just gets jazzed up to tint vehicles, loves it, loves working with film, just absolutely loves it. Doesn't like PPF, but he can PPF. He just, something about the process, everything, he prefers tint. But there's another guy, he's the opposite, loves PPF, he can tint, It's not his passion. He's not passionate about it. So what we did is we kind of leaned into it and we feed more of the jobs that, each person prefers, obviously. But the other part of it is we have that person be the one to talk to the customer when it comes time to show them that aspect of the car. Because what we've noticed, the passion that comes out from them, it's like you hear them say little things like, oh, and hey, man, check this out. I did this part here. This is really cool. And you'll show them something on the car, and so that passion resonates with the customer. And so that's where if you're anyone that has, if you're solopreneur, then hopefully you love it all and you can do that with your customers. But if you have a team, it'll be a lot easier, talk with your staff and find out what their strengths are. And by strengths, not just necessarily what they're good at, because I might be really good at mopping a floor, but I don't like it. So find out what their strength and their passion is, where that sort of vertex meets. And then that's what, have them be the one to talk to the customer, even if it means they got to stop what they're doing for 2 seconds. And hey, Johnny, come over here. Tell the customer about the PPF that you did. He stops what he's doing real quick, comes over, because that, 2-minute interaction is going to be incredibly meaningful for the customer. They're going to feel that passion. It's just like sales is the transference of energy. The post sale, that's also where, that's how you get all the, the high review count that we have, for example. And that's where you get the customers coming back because they're exceptionally happy because that passion was transferred to them, right? So I feel like I kind of was leading into a tip there, but that wasn't a tip. That was just we'll put it in the bouquet. Put it in the bouquet. But it was interesting what you said though about, like that thing you're passionate about, and then it's those little details.
I didn't use that P word, man. That's all you. I don't use the P word. That's all you.
The word of the day today, passion. There we go. See, last week you were throwing out letters. This, letter of the day is P today.
We actually on the Pints of Polish podcast, Nick and I make fun of people that use the word passion.
Oh, no shit. So, and I think I know why. Okay, I haven't actually.
Because everybody's got passion.
Everyone's got passion, yeah. And
everybody's got passion.
Find something you're passionate about. You know, like they say, you'll never work a day in your life. That's
I'm passionate about detailing. Yeah. Really? How come so many people get out of detailing that?
That's true. Yeah, if they were that.
I talked to a guy, last week. I mean, he's a passion guy. I really, he's out of Atlanta. Always enjoyed his logo. It's of a monkey. It's pretty cool, and it comes from, his culture and where he comes from and all that. Like, I've always stayed kind of watching this guy since I met him years ago when I was in Atlanta. Well, he recently put out a post that he was going to be going out of business, and I gave him a call. Actually, text message. I text him. Say, hey, man, how's everything? What's going on? Oh, man, like I said before, I don't like detailing. I really like this other thing. And so he's going to go off and leave the industry, another person that is leaving the industry because their passion ran out. What they enjoy doing never happened. He kept saying, as well as others, I don't like detailing. People would say, well, man, you got to get passion for it. Is that possible? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think you can be passionate about hobbies, Yeah.
Bingo. If you're going to do life and business together, then it goes beyond passion. It goes actually deeper to something you enjoy. Like, I absolutely love
enjoyment.
To get a cleaner and clean things.
Yeah. Seeing that transformation from this. Yeah.
Right. So that is what I didn't define it down to I'm passionate about cutting and polishing paint and becoming a paint correction guy. Right. That was never what I loved. I love to clean things. That can go into a big, big world, right? It's not specified into one little thing. Right. I enjoy cleaning things.
That's a good difference, because I think the difference is the direction that something's going. And you hear me out on this, is that if you're passionate about something, passion is within you, and it's kind of your energy that you're expelling out there, right? So I'm passionate, I'm applying my passion to whatever I'm doing, but eventually that could burn out. It's like
always does.
Yeah. Whereas enjoyment is something you're actually receiving. So that thing is getting, like me, I enjoy when customers leave reviews, good and bad. I could care less, to be honest. Obviously, I love the 5-star ones. That brings me a lot of enjoyment, but I don't care. The fact that someone takes the time to post about their experience or to email about their experience, I don't care either way, because I love talking to customers. I get enjoyment from it, because even if a guy has a bad time, that to me is almost better than the 5-star, because the 5-star, the guy's like, yeah, it was great, or he just leaves 5-star, no comment. That tells me almost nothing. But the guy who's like, hey, 4 stars, would have given 5, however, XYZ. I see that as a freaking opportunity. And I'm like, man, I'm jumping on the phone. I'm like, hey, Mark, what's going on? I see you left a 4-star. How do we get that to a 6? Oh, they don't have 6 stars. No, I know. We're going to get there. And I was like, and then you just jump in. He starts laughing. Boom, ice is broken. You jump in. Well, what happened? What's wrong? Like, everyone messes up occasionally. So what can we do? I love those conversations, and it brings me enjoyment. Am I passionate about calling customers about that? No. Like, if I had a day off, I'm not going to be like, I think I'm going to call some customers. No, because I'm not passionate about that. But when it's my job, it does bring me enjoyment. So I don't feel like I'm working, so that is a key difference. You know what? I'm going to challenge myself to strike the word passion from my vocabulary for 30 days.
And the people that publicly talk about it, people should start. Okay, that guy is well, right? I should actually stop absorbing content because that guy is leading me in a direction that will not bring fruit for a long time life development that most of us want. As you mentioned,
passion fruit.
You do not,
I couldn't resist.
You don't swap. You stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And so many people swap around and do all these different things because they're passionate.
Yeah.
So anybody that uses the word passion, besides Shawn, previous of the last, 5 minutes, move forward. Okay. Anybody else?
Little disclaimer.
You should really stop consuming their content and stop doing business with them, because they will not lead you in a direction that's fruitful.
Yeah, that's true though. And it's a big thing, that whole those words of affirmation stuff, like things you tell yourself, things you surround yourself with, really does have an impact on you.
It is absolutely true.
Yeah. And that's where, and see, as you can see, I've done a lot of training and this kind of stuff to make myself better. And that's where, I'm like, you know what? You're right. We just broke down this theory about passion. And I'm like, man, I'm striking that from my vocabulary. Let's go. Because it's important for me to go through those exercises. I've done a lot of like neuroplasticity stuff, like training your brain and all that. Man, that stuff is fascinating to me. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's not a passion, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And because I'm trying to reach new levels and be an apex predator at whatever I do. Whether it's personal or business. And that's where it comes from, those kind of things, like making sure the content you absorb.
Let's look at that word, predator. Let's look at that next one.
All right. Wow, today is the day of peas. This is okay. All right. Pea. Sorry, Sesame Street. But that was exactly. Yeah, you got so all right, so predator. All right.
Interesting word, yeah?
Yeah, very much so.
Most people, when they hear that, would distance themselves from being, because that is, right? When the normal population of people talk about predators, it's not good.
Yeah.
Right? It's not. Usually there's some type.
Guy in a white van with a jug of candy. Yeah. That's true.
We don't like to associate that into business.
Yeah.
However, if you're not, guess what? There's either, as we've all watched, we've all watched, as we talked, you and I have talked, we've all watched the Nature Channel. We've all watched the videos. If you're not a predator, what are you?
You're the prey. Absolutely. You're either the one eating at the table or you're the one being eaten.
And most people don't like to think about that there would be somebody coming against you. Right?
The reality is,
I specifically, the reality is different, but specifically when I grew up as a young man,
Yeah.
I never viewed anybody as a predator. And I didn't view myself as prey.
Yeah.
I just viewed myself as a person, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
never thought of it really. I just was
Yeah.
handling my business, was doing good business, was doing good to others. Like, I just kind of my philosophy in life, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
hang out,
Exactly.
let's chill, like, right? Like, that's always
Yeah.
been my motto. It
Yeah.
wasn't until I realized through some bad situations,
Oh yeah.
oh, what just happened here? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Who was that guy? Wow. That person really meant a lot of harm. Like,
Yeah.
oh, right. So
It's
for
true.
me, I always have good, personal defense in a sense of that, where I don't, it doesn't really bother me the way people act, right? Like, I never let them get into me.
Yeah.
But then they do something and I realize the type of
Yes.
person that they were and are,
Yeah.
and I just go, wow.
You're like, oh
And I
boy.
really, there was a moment where I began to open up and really understand the idea that the successful people always have to hunt.
Hmm.
And when you hunt, you're taking from somebody else.
Somebody. Yeah. And it may
Because
not be
whether,
malicious. Like you might not be targeting one person, but reality
exactly,
is there's winners and
exactly right.
losers. And
And
yeah.
this came to me in the distribution world as I was into dealerships.
Ah,
The dealership world is prey and predator.
very much so. Very much so.
Very, 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 very much so.
Absolutely.
And when you lose massive accounts over a $5 thing of degreaser,
Yeah.
right? When you
Oh,
do all these things for them, and then you realize what really matters and what, oh wow, this guy actually just hunted my account. This
yeah.
guy just literally came in and swiped it from me
Yeah. Just like
over
that.
$5, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
wow,
like, holy shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, right? Boom.
And what it reminds me of is, I'm sure you've seen it like on the nature channels. You'll see, I don't know, let's say a bird comes down, swoops down, grabs some, animal or something. As it's trying to make a getaway, some other animal comes and just takes its prey right from its, like, out of its claws. And it's like, holy shit. And it's, man, it's the animal kingdom. It's, as much as we
Sure.
don't want to acknowledge it, that's what it is. It's
Mhm.
as basic as that.
Yep.
And
It's
it's
brutal
not that,
out there.
oh
Yep.
yeah, and it's not that that creature meant the other creature harm specifically, but it's just it understands the
Mhm.
world that it lives in, and it says,
So I guess this was kind of rolling into, my tip of the, like, this is something
oh,
that I
nice.
wanted to talk about. So we're just kind of rolling into it. But
I love it.
you look at, even let's go with an elephant,
Yeah,
right? An elephant, you don't consider it really either.
yeah, that's true.
But it really is. I mean, you can see occasionally a video where a lion or something will take down, like, it's extremely rare.
Yeah,
And elephants don't go hunt other animals,
yeah.
but they
Mm.
do eat a shit ton of trees and they do eat a shit ton of bushes, right? So
Yeah,
that is still some type of living,
100%.
whatever it is,
Yeah,
plant. So it is
absolutely.
consuming something and taking life of something else.
Yeah, that's true. And you got to think, like, a big part of their goal as well is to go to, the watering hole, which oftentimes
Mhm.
there's only one, or the
Mhm.
next one is, miles and miles and miles away. So their goal is to get there and get as much water as they need as a large animal. And they're taking that water away from something else. They got to get there first, There's all these different aspects, because usually when we think predator and prey, once again, we think we have a certain vision in our head and we're like, oh yeah, like a lion, for example, right? But there's a lot more different forms of that, like it's crazy.
I think it'd be interesting for people to actually associate and find an animal that they feel that they associate with. What people call that their spirit animal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Trust me, most of you aren't lions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In fact, very few, I would say, very
Very
few.
few. Very few.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Doesn't mean you're a warthog,
Interesting, though.
right? Doesn't
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
that. But
Yeah, but absolutely, that's a crazy one. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably be something in the ocean for sure. I just don't know what, but the ocean, man, that's a scary place. that is a scary place. And a lot of people would say, oh yeah, I'm going to be a shark or something like that. And it's, I don't know. You got
I'm
a
gonna
lot
be
of
an orca.
humans.
If I'm in the ocean, I'm an orca.
Yeah. You know, orcas are pretty cool, actually. Yeah. Like
Mhm,
team players, very aggressive,
mhm,
but
mhm.
yeah, and they are always hunting.
Strategize.
Oh
Yep.
yeah. They
Mhm,
yeah, a lot of overlap with them in business, I would say. Yeah,
mhm.
for sure. Yeah. I know I definitely wouldn't be a penguin. They spend a lot of time just kind of standing still. Just saying. I'd probably be something that has like a lot of like almost a Swiss Army knife of animals, like a
An
platypus. You know, it's
octopus?
like octopus would be wicked. I actually love octopuses too, and but they're fascinating. Yeah, deep.
Fascinating, the way they change colors
Oh
and like blend into
God,
their, like, that's
it's
cool. And then
insane.
you watch them get away, shoot the ink, and then suddenly they're next to the coral reef and they just blend in
And you're like, what
specific.
the hell did that go? Yeah,
Yeah, where'd that go? Like, wow.
yeah. You see them even like putting shells on top of them and then like rolling down the ocean floor, and they just mimic like other things. It's insane, man. The crazy part for me with octopuses. Every single one of them is an orphan. Every single octopus on the planet is an orphan. Both parents die when the kids are born. And then the octopus is just out there in the world on their own. And that's what the crazy part is that when you talk about entrepreneurship being just built into some people, and then in others it's not, all of those skills that you just mentioned about octopuses are literally built into them. They're not taught. They don't, hey dad, can you teach me how to change colors? Like, no, it just knows how to do that, which I think is pretty unreal. But yeah, apparently, so the mom starves herself. She doesn't eat. She's just protecting the cave or hive or whatever they call it where they stay. So she doesn't eat the whole time. And then she dies of starvation after that. The father also doesn't eat, goes off, and apparently loses his mind as he's just like drifting through the ocean and then gets eaten by something or multiple things, which is pretty crazy. So every octopus on the planet is an orphan, which is insane.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, fun fact. I don't even know how we ended up down this path, but here we are. But speaking of oceans, though, so the one thing I wanted to talk to about today, which also has to do with prey and predator as well, in a sense, is I was reading this book, The Blue Ocean Strategy, which is phenomenal. You've heard of this, or it's a
Mhm.
new? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're so for those that don't know, essentially think of business as with your markets as two different oceans. You have a red ocean and you have a blue ocean. The red ocean is where most businesses operate, where you have a lot of competition. There's a lot of people doing the same thing, same sales tactics. For example, in our industry, that would be the equivalent of posting, a Model S and saying, hey, we do ceramic coating for Teslas. That's everyone's doing the exact same ads, using the same, type, the same image, the same everything, going after the same markets. So a lot of people heavily doing the same things. That's the red ocean. And your goal is to get away from all that mess and that noise and go to a blue ocean that has almost nobody in it, new opportunities, and oftentimes reduces your costs at the same time. So it's really profitable because in the red ocean, your advertising costs are going to be significantly higher because you're competing with a larger group of similar businesses doing the similar strategies. However, they're also most times pushing prices lower to compete with each other as well. So it's the area where you'll have the smallest margins. So the goal is to get to the blue zone. And I'm going to use a quick example of Cirque du Soleil because I recently went to see them perform, which was absolutely phenomenal, by the way. And my wife and daughter were both born in Montreal, and they're from Montreal, so it's pretty awesome as well.
The water one I saw in Vegas.
I didn't see that one. Oh man, a water one, that would be phenomenal. Oh
Mhm.
damn.
All
Yeah.
the flying around and then going into the water and then jumping up over, like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane what all they do.
Oh, it's
And
crazy.
throwing somebody over here all the way, like,
And there's always like a story with it too. It's not just random, like, dudes throwing each other or some
like a
shit
play.
like that. Exactly. So that's my point is, how would you classify Cirque du Soleil? Is it a circus or is it a play?
It's a show.
Exactly. It's both. And so at one time, it was a circus. And we also have plays and we have operas and things like that. And what they realized is by being a circus, they were limited in the types of performances they could do, the type of audience that would show up. And you're also dealing with the issue of, animals, and that's really expensive to maintain and, keep them, happy and alive and well. And then you also have people that don't want to go see animals in a circus because of their own personal beliefs. And then on the flip side of it, if you enter into the plays and the opera market, you've already got well-established companies that's all they do. They focus heavily on that. So you're kind of in two areas where, what do you do? So what they did is went right down the middle, and they created a new type of experience where they could charge a premium price because you're getting two things for the price of one, even though that one price is higher. So what they did is they made something that's both a circus without the animals. So they were able to reduce the cost while introducing a new form of experience where there was no competition. And that's how they blew up. And now they're billions is what they're pulling in annually now. They've got shows all throughout the world, different languages, everything. It's huge. And they found their blue ocean, basically separated themselves. And so there's ways that you can do this in your detailing business. And I have a good strategy that maybe might work for some detailers, depending on your location, because this is something we're doing as well. Well, a lot of our competition is doing the same ads, doing the same thing, showing a fancy car and saying, like we do wraps or we do PPF or ceramic coating, whatever the case may be. And they're targeting
raffling tickets. Is that what you're doing?
So no, we're taking a different approach.
Oh.
So yeah. So we've yeah, but thanks. But we do that as well. Raffling tickets to the Cirque du Soleil. Yeah, but we're giving away an elephant. That's what we're doing. No. So we took a look at all the campgrounds that are outside of our city, and we've started running ads for people that have expressed interest in those campgrounds, that have liked them, and so on and so forth. And then we run ads targeting Monday and Tuesday, because people usually go away for the weekend. They come back Monday or Tuesday. At some point in there, they see in their social feeds our ads talking about how it was camping. We can clean that messy vehicle, because even myself, I just went camping, came back, and my truck was filthy. I own a shop, so no big deal for me. A lot of people, they got to head back to work. They don't have time to clean their vehicle, but I got to go through the whole week with my vehicle looking like this. So they want to deal with that. Then I proceeded to reach out to each of the campgrounds. I said, hey, would it be okay if we put a little something in? They all have those little shacks where you can go and buy ice and buy the wood and stuff like that. And we said, would it be okay if we put some stuff in there? So I've got some things printed, and I've got 10 out of 12 that said no problem. The other two, I'm still going to just keep harassing them until they say yes. But basically, because I'm a predator. But so the 10 that said yes, though, what we printed we took the distance from that particular location to our location, and then we put on the flyer, it says, get your car detailed only, 20 miles away. And then we put the address in Ottawa, because that way they know, obviously, if it's someone traveling there from a different city, we can help them. But a lot of people that we know specifically which ones a lot of people from our city go to. And so that way we can target them. And I've started looking at this and saying, okay, so there's probably a lot of similar type things around, people that I can reach out to that are not, chasing after the exotic cars, chasing after, the same markets that everyone else is going after. I can take a look at other pain points that customers have, find my blue ocean, and reach out to these, unconventional places. And so that's some things that we're doing.
I think that's the key point, right? Finding the pain points.
Yes, 100%. Without the pain points, this whole exercise is useless. And that's where the episode last week, talking about AI and how you can go in there, tell ChatGPT to build your perfect customer. You can do the same thing. You can go in here and identify an area where maybe there's a blue ocean. So maybe it's I don't know, it could be anything. Could be maybe there's a local theater group, and you want to go after something about Cirque du Soleil. Who knows? Whatever the hell it is. You find something, go into ChatGPT, you can create your customer profile and ask it, what are the problems that I could solve with my detailing shop for this business or for this customer? And it'll give you some pain points, and that'll give you a starting point to work off of, so that you can say, okay, so these are the pain points I need to address in this particular advertising. And you're going to find that there's a lot of ideas out there, and there's a lot of sources different from your traditional sources that you'll be able to target. Like it's crazy. I've started looking in groups in our local area, like community groups. Man, there's groups for everything, man. Holy shit. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Community. Yeah, that's why I said, like, Facebook groups. Go to your local Facebook groups. Thousands.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Tons of them. Tons and tons and tons. And what I found too, because I did do the Facebook group thing as well. Some of them, they had, recommendations. Like I would reach out to the group admin or whatever and ask, like, hey, is it okay if I run a promo with you guys or something? Like sometimes they just want a little fee to help, they're running their thing, whatever. But some of them gave me good suggestions. They were like, oh, actually, there's a group that does this, but they don't have an online presence. So there's two of them. There's one for pickleball. Didn't even know what that was, to be honest. I had to look it up. Never played. Like I had an idea, but I didn't know. So I looked it up and he's like, yeah, they don't have a thing, but they meet at this community center every Tuesday. And I was like, oh, wicked. I said, yeah, but how many members are there in that thing? And he said, across the city, 1,420. I was like, you're kidding me. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, maybe, you know what I mean? But that's still 1,000 plus people I'm going to be able to come up with something around because I know some of their interests. You can start to tailor something around them specifically. And so I'm just going to basically do some recon. I'm going to become like James Bond. I'm going to, research my target and then find something that I can do because I'm a predator.
All right. So the way you can be an octopus is go in and this is something I do. I've been doing it for years. You just interact.
Yeah.
What most people struggle with, and they'll go, hey man, yeah, I was in a Facebook group and it didn't do anything. Yeah, what'd you do? Oh, I posted my stuff and I posted this. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to interact first. Yeah. You got to warm up to it, man. Little foreplay.
You really shouldn't do that for probably a year.
Yeah, it's true. This is a long game. Yeah.
It's been a long time getting to know the people. Because most people are going to be just like you there, buddy. They don't want to be harassed. They don't want to be sold.
100%.
Most people really like to deal with people that they like. They know them and they've gotten used to them. And then they go, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, this guy keeps talking about, clean tires and how well, the tire shine works from hyperClean, right? Like whatever it is that you're trying to say, you just constantly keep trying to say it through the group. And you do that by interacting with them, just chatting with them. Go and
it's true.
They post and they talk about, something they did. Great. Just tell them great job. Like,
it's true. It can be that simple.
It is that simple.
Yeah.
Like, but you've got to do it. You've got to put in the time.
Yeah.
Most people, detailers or whatever that hear this, they'll put in like a week.
Yeah. And it's like, man, a week is not enough, man.
First of all, stop posting the group of how great you are. And then second of all, give it longer than a week.
Yeah.
Minimum 1 year. Like,
exactly.
And that's hours a day.
Yeah.
Going into all the Facebook groups.
It's true.
Interacting with a ton of them.
Yeah. But what happens in the end is it's kind of like a hockey stick where it starts slow and then it just spikes because once you have a couple members that know you and you've built those relationships, now anyone new, you could literally skip a couple steps and instead of warming them up for a year, jump into something, other members are going to vouch for you basically.
And our hyperClean distributors have found great success with this, right? Because they get to do the service and they get to sell the product for the people that don't want to pay them for the service. So you interact, you just chat, and then there will always be a moment where somebody has a problem.
Yeah. And that's where you come in with a solution.
That's where you get to talk about solutions.
Yeah. 100%.
And giving them options. Hey, here's the way we found, I see you said something about your kids spilled something, in the car. Hey, we got a service that goes and cleans that up, or we've got these products here that from hyperClean that you can buy and do it yourself. I would be happy to walk you through all that.
Yeah. And then boom, that right there, that 30-second interaction, but you wouldn't have that 30-second interaction. You wouldn't have that opportunity unless you waited, And so last thing about predators then is I was watching this thing about lions and they were waiting for 3 weeks for these buffalo to come to this one watering hole. 3 weeks. They sat there, it didn't move. And you got to think, you're like, oh, okay, why didn't they just come 2 weeks later or something? They don't know when it's going to happen. And that's the thing is you don't know when this is going to happen.
That they know it's going to happen.
Exactly. So they know it is going to happen. They don't know when. It's the same thing in these groups. Like, you don't know, you might have that opportunity after a week, but most times you're going to be like the lions waiting there, you know, in the plains, just looking over the grass, and you're gonna be waiting there for days and weeks, but it will happen. And when it does happen, it's gonna be the easiest sales of your life. And it's gonna lead to a lot more stuff because you didn't just jump right into sales. You've got that relationship built, you know, so those are solid sales. Be the easiest sale you made in your life, and oftentimes the highest ticket prices and all kinds of stuff. It's like fishing with dynamite, you know. Man, we had a lot of animal references today, man. This is like Animal Planet all of a sudden. But it's because there's a lot of overlap. That's what it is. Yeah. So no more P word for me. All right. Interesting. Enjoyment. That's what it is now. Enjoyment. Which makes sense, you know? Like yeah. Like, hey sir, did you enjoy your meal? Then I'm like, hey sir, are you passionate about that steak and potatoes? No, not really. But I did enjoy it, you know. So yeah, enjoyment. That's the new thing then. Yeah. Okay, so my last thing, because I do have a tip today. Just so real quick tip, pay attention to the details. So I had two guys at my shop arguing about whether or not Coke or Pepsi's better.
Oh,
And so that was going on and on and on and on, and they brought up all the examples, like, you know, the blindfold tests and all this shit. Somehow this then transformed into an argument about whether Coke was better than Coke. And I was really confused at first. And they said, yeah, McDonald's Coke is different than restaurant Coke. And I said, I don't know, man. Like, it's the same, you know? They said, no, it's different. And they were, me, I don't eat a lot of McDonald's, like once in a blue moon. So I don't really know. And if I do, I usually order water or a coffee. So I didn't know. So I did a test, and I went out and I tried both. And sure as shit, the McDonald's one did taste a lot better. So I started to do some research on it. And sure enough, the McDonald's one is different intentionally, sort of intentionally. And what it is it's the process with which they handle it. They don't have a special formula. There's no special, a different batch gets delivered to McDonald's. That's all debunked. It's just a myth. What it is it's the process in how they deliver it. So they've invested in the little details that you might not think of. So it gets delivered, instead of in plastic bags, it gets delivered in steel drums. So it preserves the taste longer, stays colder longer. And they've built this custom system, that an ice delivery system, so that when the Coke is added into the cup, it's pre-chilled. So they're not adding warm or room temperature Coke to ice in a cup, because then the ice starts to melt faster and it waters it down. So to preserve the taste, they chill the Coke first, then they add in the ice at the same time. So it preserves the taste. The reason I mention this is because it's those little details, things that you might not think. Everyone thinks like, oh, everyone goes to McDonald's because of the price. Everyone goes to McDonald's because it's fast. But it's also all these other little details. The amount of salt they put on their French fries, so on and so forth. All of those things are calculated down to be duplicatable. And so you got to think of the little details in your business that you can duplicate again. So where do you store your ceramic coatings? Have you tested maybe they apply better if you store them in a fridge? Maybe they apply better if you store them just in a cool place in the shade or something. Who knows? Test different things in your business. Assess the end result, I guess, is what I'm getting to, from, you know, how many customers were happy with certain things, do some tests, and see what little fine details you can tweak to make sure that your Coca-Cola tastes different. There we go. That's my official tip.
yeah.
Thank you. I was pretty blown away by it. And I lost $20 on the bet. But
Yeah, while you were talking, I was like, I bet you because I think that, you know, we've got some, I think that people change their amount of syrup. I think that's why we've got a gas station here called Quick Trip that started in Tulsa, but has now grown into some other regions of the United States. And I don't drink their Coke. I swear they do. They inside of whatever. I think it's the same mixture. I'm with you. I think everybody's the same mixture. I think there's a way that they can meter the amount
that goes out. Yeah.
The amount that comes out of the,
and it could be, because ultimately it's not, Yeah, it's not mixed with water. It's not pre-mixed. So it's going into a dilution machine of some kind.
Mhm.
And for sure that could be, and it could be something simple, like maybe, you've seen the different nozzles. Have you ever seen a thing where it says Sprite, but the guy's like, no, that one, we hooked up the Coke one to that. You know what I mean? You've seen it, right? But the ratio of water is likely different between brands, between flavors of, soda. So like, one person might think it's plug and play because the connectors fit. Just because they fit doesn't mean the end result's going to be the same, right? So it's yeah, I can see that.
Listen,
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
didn't do the homework like you did.
Oh yeah.
I literally just pushed it up and
You're like, huh?
it's
That's
watered
different.
down. Huh?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but it's funny. It probably tastes like this. There was this one in the Caribbean when we used to live there. They used to have a Coke plant there, bottling facility, and they pulled the licensing from it. They've since reintroduced it, but they pulled it and they said, you guys are not allowed to distribute Coca-Cola products on the island anymore because the quality control wasn't there. They weren't reaching the levels that Coke wanted, the standards. So they still had this bottling facility there, and they had an idea of what the recipe was, but not the full recipe. So they said, maybe we could try and make our own. So they introduced their own brand called Sweet, and it had the extra E. And so we always used to joke and say, like, yeah, the extra E is for the extra sugar. It was terrible, but it tasted like a Coke that you had cracked the top and just like left it there for a couple hours. And it was just a little flat. And then when you drink it, by the time you get towards the bottom, just extra sugary. So kids loved it because of the sugar, but they'll just drink anything really. But as an adult, you could definitely tell, like you were, and it had the same shape bottle because it was previously a Coke bottling plant and stuff like that. But they changed the label and anyway, yeah. So they now have Coke products back there again. But yeah, Sweet. Terrible. See, it's all the little details though, so start to finish. That's what it is. But cool. Well, anyway, Marty, thank you as always, man. Great tips. Love it, especially the octopus stuff. All right. So everybody out there, go out there and be a predator, be an orphan predator. Don't worry about it. This is the one and only time I'm going to encourage you to go be a predator. Appreciate you, Marty. Safe trip. Happy packing. And next time we speak, we will be miles apart. Well, more miles apart. But who knows where you'll be? Spin a globe and we'll find out.
Where's Waldo? We'll find
Hey,
out.
that's it. Where's Marty? We got a new one. All right, brother. Stay safe. We'll talk as soon as you land. All right, man.
See you, man.
Cheers. Cheers.